Full Body Tickle Massage by Melissa. ASMR Massage. I begin just by very lightly touching the back, using my fingertips to glide over the entirety of the back, going up and down and left to right. Then using my fingertips, I bring them towards my thumb, just to do some 5 fingers all at once, pretending to grab little pockets away from the back. Then go back to using my right hand and slowly moving up the back from left to right, doing zigzags. Same thing with my left hand. Then starting at one edge, I begin at the lower back and move up diagonally to the shoulder, making X's across the back. And do small circles just over the shoulder blades at first, and then moving down. Then working on each side of the back, and together going from the bottom to the top, down across the shoulders. And move in from the sides. I bring my hands together very gently. Going up the center of the back with one finger, and across the base of the back and up in an S, down and across and up the back, making different designs, across and up and across and up and around. All different types of swirls. Then using one hand and the other, continue making swirls. Going back to using all fingers. Make more swirls and zigzags. Then I do some straight lines. The bottom all the way to the top. All of my fingers. Bottom to the top. Bottom to the top. Then go up and across. Using a little bit of pressure, I go down. Using more of the pad of my fingers. But when I come up, I use just the fingernails. So down using the pads, and up using the fingernails. And I do some more sweeps. Again, just from the downward side of the back up to the upward side of the back. Starting on one side and then moving to the other. Making arcs. Very broad arcs. I'm doing just a little bit of a quicker pace. I alternate the hands, walking down the back, slightly bringing it up before I switch hands. Then wiping the back with all of my hands. I begin to just tap it. Very lightly tapping with each finger. Just moving up the back and down the back. Walking very quickly with my fingertips. I go down the back several times, starting at the shoulders and working my way down. Then zigzagging back up. And then using just 2 fingers, I walk down the back on each side of the spine, moving further and further away with each repetition. And doing some quick walkings all over the back, sweeping it down, and sweeping it down again using the back of my fingernails. Sweep, 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 grabs, and a grab, 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 and a grab. Then across, diagonal, back and forth, palms of the fingers all over the back, light pressure down, and lighter pressure up. Using one hand across the back, now the other. Using the entirety of my palm, I apply a little bit of pressure and just move them up the back. Then going on the right side of the spine and the left side of the spine separately. Then working my way out from the spine. Just clearing the feel of my fingers, tips, calming and relaxing the back. Going from the bottom to the top, across the shoulders, the bottom, up the back, across the shoulders, bottom of the back, up and across. Then reaching across the back, go from the waist, up the sides, towards the spine. Then walk around and go up from the waist, up the back, up the sides, towards the spine. Then working again, place both thumbs on opposite sides of the spine. I walk my thumbs down, pulling out towards the sides as I move down the back, spreading and stretching the muscle as I go. Then just going down with my thumbs. Just work the muscles a little bit. And very, very lightly, I roll my hand across the back. Palm rolling, palm pressing. Just a roll press. Random locations all over the back. Then just doing a few more sweeping motions. Move from the back to the legs. Again, keeping that sweeping motion. Then quickly move into a very Nice, simple tickle on the legs. Sweeping up with my nails, using both hands on one leg, and then the same both hands on the other, with the same motions. I then begin to squeeze ever so gently the muscles, working up the leg to just above the knee, and starting just above the knee, going down the calf muscle to the ankle of the other leg. Then do air squeezes up both legs using both hands. Sweep down the leg one at a time. And just take a little bit water and lavender oil, and I very gently mist the legs. Then I begin to rub it in. Really quickly, making sure the water is evaporating. And then I do a little finger wiggle, hand wiggle over both legs to help it evaporate and absorb. Then do some piano playing all over one leg, starting at the top, working my way down, using both hands at the same time. Then go up the other leg, starting at the ankle, working to just above the knee. Then just take one or two fingernails and I go down one leg. Then down the other. Then down both at the same time. And up the inside. Then I press on the legs using both hands, using a rolling technique again, just that palm rolling technique, palm roll, and another palm roll, and another palm roll, then going the opposite way, the same palm roll, working on one leg, and then the other again. Then doing some more air grabs. Grab, 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 grab. And then I swivel down using just one hand. And I swivel up, just using one hand again. Then go and do some walking with the fingers from the outside of the leg to the inside of the leg. Then from the inside to the out on the other. Then doing some variations on each of the techniques. Combine them to do circles, a push, and a release. Circle, push, release. Circle, push, release. Then do alternating hand steps down the leg and alternating hand steps up the leg. Then I do some spreads and some more pushes. Some rocking pushes using just the fingers. Then a few spreads. The hands meet the center of the calf and work its way out. Center and spread. Then I just do some nice medium pressure squeezes on the muscles of the legs. Squeezing, then moving, squeezing, moving, squeezing. Then just doing some finger walks using all of my fingers. I move fairly vigorously all over both calf muscles, focusing on one leg and then the next. And I do a few karate chops. Going all over both legs. And I do some hand cupping. Again, just mainly focusing on the lower portion of the legs. Doing a little bit of the upper. then sweeping down and sweeping down. And walking around the table, I work from the feet. Use both hands and start pushing upward, sliding my hand down, pushing my hand upward and sliding it down. Going up, back down the leg, and sweeping it with each hand. Then move on to a very soft brush. And I begin to very gently brush each leg, taking very short strokes and a very long one down. Very short, deliberate strokes up the leg. Then one long stroke down. Then pushing on the legs with the brush. I very lightly let it get contact with the skin. And then, like I'm sweeping it left and right, use the brush to sweep the legs. Then using very long, curvy strokes, I use the brush. Keep in constant contact with the leg. Doing some swirls, big swirls with the brush. Then take both hands and I do some nice strokes on the legs, using both palms on the outside of the legs, then just the fingertips, both palms on the inside of the legs, then just the fingertips, palms on the tops of the legs, and then just the fingertips. On the outside, pushing the legs in. Then pushing down on the muscles of the legs. Push, 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 pushing Then walking up the legs using my thumbs, doing a thumb walk on the center and then the right, then the left, then doing the same thing to the other, starting on the right, going to the center, and moving to the left. Then doing some more sweeping, racing my fingertips, smoothing out, sweeping, getting lighter, moving to the face, place 2 thumbs on the forehead, drag them towards the hair, across the jawline, around the ears, to the hair, both fingers, thumb and the first finger, across the jawline, round the ears, to the hair. Then do some very light finger work on the forehead, walking with all of my fingers down to the center of the eyebrows. Then pulling it up towards the top of the head, moving out with my fingertips, sweeping the forehead, using the backs of my fingernails, and doing a little bit more with the forehead, using all of my fingers if possible. Then do flutter tips with my fingertips. Just fluttering my fingers all over the face, across the forehead, down the cheeks, across the chin, the cheekbones, and then doing just the sweeps up. Using the palms of my hands and the blunt part of my fingers. Then go back into fingertip flutters across the cheekbones, and the jawline. Back up to the forehead, then use the hair to my advantage. Then grab the brush and I begin to sweep the forehead with the brush. Go down and across the face, starting at the chin, the nose, the forehead, but always going up towards the hair, across the forehead, across the cheekbones, across the other cheekbones. Across the chin and the jawline, keeping it symmetrical. Then doing little pushes with the brush, just barely coming in contact with the skin, and releasing. Going all over the face, and doing some more swivels and swirls with the brush. Use it all across the face. Then taking a very small brush, I draw lines, vertical lines on the forehead. Drawing a line with the brush and following it with the finger. Going across horizontally, again with the brush followed by a finger. And going all across the forehead, horizontal strokes. Then across the cheekbones, down towards the chin, up the hairline, cheekbone, down to the chin, up to the hairline. Some more longer strokes from the chin to the ear. Starting at the nose, across the cheekbone, stopping at the temple, and the same on the other side of the face. Then going back just to my hands, I smooth out the forehead. And using my thumbs, I work on just the eyebrows and the forehead, a little bit on the sinuses, using a good amount of pressure. And doing little air grabs with my hands. I work my way down the face, even across the cheekbones. Then I do little squeezes on the eyebrows. Just little squeezes. And do some more finger movements through the hair. For no other reason, just simply it's there. It's a good way to relax. To work all the way from the chin and the jawline, up the cheeks, across the temples. Be able to move the entirety of the hand all the way through the hair. And using my fingers, I just go into the hair and I comb it out. And I do some more sweeps, very broad sweeps, from the temple up to the tips of the hair, across the forehead, down the hair, maintaining contact with the scalp, using a good amount of pressure just to get a little blood flow to the top of the head. Pulling up slightly, not releasing the hair till I'm solidly away. Doing some thumb work on the forehead. Use some good pressure. Work from the eyebrows up to the hairline. Walking with the thumbs all the way across from the center of the forehead to the temples. Using my fingers, I go horizontally across the forehead, using one direction and then the other, using one hand and then the other. And both hands on each temple. Do some circular rotations, just focusing on the temples. Then go behind the ears just a little bit before heading up. Sweep from the jaw to the hair again. The second time, just stopping at the temples for a few more circles. starting at the jawline, up to the temple, out to the hair. Then doing some very slower finger flutters. Go all over the face. Some very light air grabs, using just a few fingers. And just one finger starts on the forehead and grabs a few hairs as it moves upward. Then both fingers at the same time, very softly, working on the forehead, and all the fingers in the hair, spreading it out, releasing all the tension. Leaving nothing but peace and relaxation.